If not, on this vote, the yeas are 50 and the nays are 50. The Senate being equally divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative, and the motion is agreed to.
Senate Republicans have sided with U.S. President Donald Trump in a move to cancel billions in previously approved federal spending. The controversial plan passed a key procedural hurdle on July 15th, thanks to a tie-breaking vote from Vice President JD Vance. With the vote split 50-50, Vance's decisive role signals growing alignment between Senate GOP leaders and the Trump agenda. The spending cut package, totaling $9.4 billion, now heads into a final Senate vote after a lengthy amendment debate Wednesday. The rescission effort aims to trim unused funds, with the White House planning more bills targeting what they call wasteful spending. U.S. President Donald Trump pushed hard for the cuts, overcoming resistance from moderates by revising proposals and applying political pressure. One key change was a $400 million cut to the global HIV/AIDS relief program, PEPFAR, that was removed, easing concerns among lawmakers. While some hailed the bill as fiscal discipline, others worry about deep cuts to public broadcasting and international aid. More than 1,500 local stations could face funding shortfalls, with 70% of public media money flowing from federal sources. The cost-cutting effort started by Elon Musk during his DOGE stint will also get momentum if the measure is implemented. The White House plans a series of fast-track rescission bills to claw back funds identified by DOGE. The bill returns to the House next, where another vote is required before it heads to Trump's desk before a deadline on July 18th. The passing of the bill would be a victory for President Donald Trump, who overcame reluctance on the part of some moderates by making political threats and tweaking the bill to allay some objections.
Today, Mr. President, as you know, we're going to start talking about, put up the first one. We're going to start talking about the rescission package. And I want to talk about that for a few minutes. As you know, Mr. President, under our Constitution, Congress passes a budget. We send that budget to the President of the United States, whomever that might be, and the President executes or implements our budget. Close that door for me, please. And the President implements that budget. On occasion, under federal statute, the President has the authority, after we have passed a budget in Congress, to look at the budget and say, you know, I don't need all this money to accomplish the goals that Congress established and instructed me to accomplish. And so the President can contact us and say, Congress, I would like you to rescind some of the spending in the budget that you sent to me. It's called a rescission bill or a rescission package. President Trump has sent us a rescission bill or a rescission package asking the United States Congress to cut the budget by roughly $9 billion. And that's what we're going to start voting on today. Now, $9 billion is a lot of money, except when you compare it to the overall federal budget. $9 billion, despite the fact that it's a bucket load of money, is 1/10 of 1% of the federal budget. 1/10 of 1% of the federal budget. It gives you an idea of how big the federal budget is. I think most people, most adults anyway, understand that in life, what you say doesn't really matter. What you say doesn't really matter. It's what you do that demonstrates what you believe. And that's certainly true in politics. And that's certainly true in Washington, D.C. Ignore what anybody in Washington, D.C. says. Ignore it. If you want to understand their behavior, look at their behavior. What in Washington, D.C., as in life, what you do is what you believe, not what you say. What you do is what you believe, and everything else is just cottage cheese. Now, President Trump, whether you voted for him or not, whether you like him or not, ran on a platform of reducing the size of government. And the people elected him. And since day one, the president has been very hard, if you've paid attention to the news, he's been working very hard to reduce government spending. And he's reduced a lot. He started out with the DOGE program with Mr. Elon Musk. Mr. Musk, of course, has left. But the quest to reduce government spending, wasteful government spending, which I call spending porn, continues. Every Republican in the United States Senate has voiced approval of what the president has done. Every Republican, every one of my colleagues, myself included, has said to the president, "Attaboy, Mr. President, go get them. Keep issuing those executive orders. Reduce the spending. We're spending too much money. We've got a $37 trillion debt. Keep going, Mr. President." And the president has, but he's been doing it through executive order. There's only so much you can do through executive order. An executive order issued by a president expires when the president's no longer in office. The only way to permanently reduce spending is to have Congress act. And that's what the president's asking us to do in this rescission bill. What you do is what you believe, and everything else is just cottage cheese. The rescission package that the president has sent over is we're going to start considering it today. And after listening, in some cases for years, but certainly for the last 100+ days since President Trump's been in office, after listening to my Republican colleagues talk about the importance of reducing spending, it's gut check time. It is gut check time. Because what you do is what you believe, not what you say. And now my colleagues and I have an opportunity to really support the president. Now, I don't know if this bill is going to pass. I do not know if it's going to pass. I mean, I've heard a lot of wailing and gnashing of teeth and whining, and civilization's going to melt if we cut 0.1% of the budget, and that's coming from some of my Democratic colleagues. They're entitled to their point of view. But I want to put this in context. After all of us on my side of the aisle telling the world that we need to reduce spending, if we vote against this rescission package and refuse to reduce spending by 0.1% of the budget, we ought to have had our heads in a bag.
If not, on this vote, the yeas are 50 and the nays are 50. The Senate being equally divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative, and the motion is agreed to. So that was the right way, right? Sounds good. Do I need to do anything? Okay.
Mr. President, I move to proceed to calendar 114, H.R. 4.
The question is on the motion to proceed.
I ask for the yeas and nays.
Is there a sufficient second? There appears to be. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Alsobrooks. Ms. Baldwin. Thank you. Mr. Banks. Thank you. Thank you. Whitey. Barrasso. Mr. Barrasso.